So I've got 20 minutes and I have a scary amount of slides. I have actually 67 slides. So I worked out I've got 17.9 seconds per slide. So I need to go through this really quickly. The slides will be online later. But a quick word about why we're here is that Backstage is a developer network, a designer network, and we want to work with more universities and students to hopefully bring some literacy to web literacy to the UK, which is kind of the bigger issue about portability. So, how many of you guys have heard of data portability? Okay, this will be, hopefully it's quite disturbing then. So, why are we interested? This is an old slide actually, for Ashley Highfield, the old Director General of Future Media Technology at BBC, saying we need to get more savvy. And I think it's about the website, it's actually talking about we need to be more savvy and more web literate. And that's where things have changed. The web isn't about static pages anymore. The web is social. And with that, it brings a whole load of other issues to bear. Some of the issues that you may have come across, you may not have thought about. And some of them include cloud computing and things like Second Life, which I will talk about in a minute. So, from my point of view, this is a user-controlled revolution. The user is now back in control, or the era of control has passed. The broadcasters like ourselves have now got to give up some of our powers and move on and let the user take control. So we think. There's a good book which I'm currently reading through. I highly recommend it. When I first saw the title, I was quite scared. I was like, this guy's calling for the end of the internet. What kind of craziness is this? What you realize is that the way we're headed right now, we're heading towards a really scary future where content is locked up forever. Someone actually at a conference a little while ago asked me, so what's different now than what was different from before? Well, now we have digital locks that cannot be unlocked, and law is tied up with it, so that it means that you cannot unlock this stuff without breaking the law, which means that you are doing something very, very wrong. So, data portability is about users, identity, photos, all the stuff that you guys make, being under your control. That's what it's all about. Here's some of the principles that the data portability group, which I'm a founder of, kind of came across. So for the, things like your profiles, relationships, all that kind of stuff should be under your control. You should be using open formats, APIs, protocols. For example, the APIs, we do not use services unless they have APIs, because we want to be able to get the data back out in case something changes. Also, there's rights and privacy issues, and we always recommend existing standards when possible. There's also another group that came up with this Bill of Rights, which I won't read through now, which is kind of interesting. Same kind of take, the user has rights online, and we all need to understand that, that we have these rights and we should exercise them. So there's some notions of trust. How many of you guys have seen this? You sign up to a new social networking site. Well, we'll help you by allowing you to import your address book from another service. Well, you know what? That is not good. It's very bad. It's actually phishing, pretty much. This is actually what we're teaching our students and people around us. We're saying, if you use a site like this, use this, it'll be fine. Well, that's the same as phishing, okay? This is a problem. It's a real big problem. There are solutions around this. There's permission-based systems. This is from Flickr. Flickr says, when you sign up to a new service, you can actually say what that service can do. So you can read, write, or delete some of your stuff. OpenID is completely permission-based. How many of you guys have got OpenIDs? Okay, the rest of you guys, you should look into OpenID. Really powerful. There's a thing called OAuth as well, which allows you to do machine-to-machine or service-to-service transactions, so the user doesn't have to go through and do all this weird stuff. Even Facebook's now got permissions. If Facebook's got permissions, then that's saying something. So, and the last thing on this area is that Anybody that says identity is easy is lying. You know, it's such a complicated area, and yeah, we're still trying to work this stuff out. So about cloud computing, I didn't actually know you were going to talk, unfortunately, so I'm a bit worried. Okay, so I actually have got something about Google, but it's a good thing about Google. So Amazon, I've been doing web services for a long, long time for developers. Really, really good stuff. And obviously, Google do really good stuff as well, including their Gears and their Gmail and other stuff. Interesting enough, you could now use Chrome to get to Gmail, and you could use, I think you can use offline Gmail with Gears using Chrome, so quite interesting. Microsoft are also looking in this area as well. So they've got this live mesh service, which allows you to have your data in the cloud, and then no matter what device you're on, you just log in and get your data, and away you go. All works quite similarly. So what Rayosi says about cloud computing, I won't read it. You can get it later. Now, interesting enough, how many of you guys have got these little, I'm not sure what they're called, like netbooks or whatever they're called? Yeah, they're getting really popular. I see them everywhere in conferences now. They're literally just kind of cloud machines. You know, they've got very little storage on them, and you know, they hook up to the web, and you're reliant on stuff like Gmail and services like that, which is interesting. Maybe that's the way that it's going. But there's a warning. There's loads of proprietary tools in the clouds. Yeah, you can get locked in. So I was actually talking to, I forgot your name, sorry. Yeah, about the problem with Second Life is how do you get the stuff back out of Second Life? Yeah, for example, we wanted to, we did a concert in Second Life for Radio 1, and we wanted to re-render the concert in high res. So we thought we'll take all the models out, rerun through it, and so you can have a nice high res version for people to watch on TV. Well, that's not possible. You know, that's a real problem for us. You know, you can only watch what was currently there. And Second Life has a whole lot of issues about permanency as well, which I'll leave alone for now. Stallman, who's the founder of the Free Software Movement, you can't see in the background, but says that actually the cloud's a trap. It's a big trap, and we should all avoid it. I don't think that's quite the attitude that we have, but it's you've got to think about these things. We're also noticing this thing called cloud-based thinking. So the idea is that if you and your students and people around you, if you can have access to the cloud at any time, you know, pub quizzes and stuff like that are meaningless, because you just, you know, well, yeah, you hit Google and you've got all the answers. Why do you need to store your stuff in your head? Which is interesting. So some of the services that we use, this is actually from Get Satisfaction, for the guys that don't know, is it's kind of not sure how to describe it. It's like a support network. So there's a BBC one, and you can go in there, you can ask questions on the BBC, or like report bugs, all that kind of stuff. It's completely on their own servers. There's problems with this. There's big problems with this. Actually, when the guys who actually do this for real on the BBC saw this, they kind of flipped out a little bit, which is understandable. We also use this thing called Yammer, which is like Twitter. What Twitter is like a micro-blogging site, but it's only for companies. So anyone that's got a bbc.co.uk website, email address can join Yammer. Problem with Yammer is it also, again, sits on their servers. So all that information is being stored there. And actually one of our engineers was talking about the fact that if we wanted to file a patent, if it was discussed on Yammer, would we be able to do that? Because that's now out in the open on a public server or somewhere else. I think we actually agreed that you'd still be okay, but you know, there's these issues that come about. We also use Basecamp a lot for all our projects. Basecamp is a project management tool. We found this is probably okay because a lot of the information about the project and the end user license agreement is quite straightforward. It allows you to kind of do what you want to do. But it is stored on their servers. And there are problems with this. So Basecamp, for example, has an API, also allows you to cancel your account, allows you to export your data, which is really important. Because what happens when you stop paying for it? it just disappears. It just gets wiped, or maybe it gets used. Who knows? There's some things that I just want to talk about with the transferring of the content as well. That so Yahoo Photos shut down a little while ago, and the great guys at Yahoo, actually allowed you to transfer your content to their competitors, along with Flickr. Otherwise, you could download them one by one, which wasn't great. But being able to transfer to your competitors is a great advantage. Epson, on the other hand, didn't have that option. You had to go down and download every single photo one by one. That means literally click next photo, right click, save as, right click, save as. Trust me, you don't want to be doing that with, I've got about 6,000 photos now in Flickr. You don't want to do that. There are problems with all this stuff in the cloud's computing. There is downtime. So Basecamp, we get this a lot. Because Basecamp is hosted in America, they put a downtime when they're sleeping, which is when we're awake. Great. There are server errors. You do get server errors. This has happened before for people. And Twitter is just so funny now. It's beyond the joke that there is actually a website called istwitterdown.com, which is just ridiculous. And relying on the internet on the network is the problem. I mean, how you guys are actually twiddling your thumbs because you haven't got internet access right now, It's a problem. And so we need to kind of consider that. Now, stuff like Gears does help in that case, but that's not the solution. We have to consider what's actually going on, where we'll be, and what the problems are with putting stuff in the cloud. Also, be able to get stuff back out is really important. So Yahoo Pipes is really cool because it allows you to visually pull stuff out. But even if a company doesn't allow you to pull stuff out, you can go to a service like Dapper, which allows you to scrape your data out. Now, that's the real, you don't want to be doing that, basically. Okay, so I'm going to move on. One of the important things about data portability is also about to license your content. You should be able to license your content and say to people, this is for use, for this use, or that use. On Flickr, for example, this is my photo, but whose is this? Is this mine? Is this mine? I put these tags in, but sometimes on Flickr you can allow people to put tags in. Is this extra information mine that Flickr kind of machine produced for my photo? Who knows, So it's a real problem about who owns what. So you should be using Creative Commons licenses wherever possible. You should also be encouraging people to use services that allow this and show this. If it doesn't show it and doesn't allow this, you should probably avoid it. You can even have licensing in applications. This is Inkscape, so I can actually say which part of the document is a certain license, which is amazing. You can also put other licenses as well. This is from blip.tv, one of my favorite services, and it allows you to put an additional license of your own. So you may have a college-wide license or like a Backstage license or whatever. How many of you guys actually read the end-user license agreement? You really should. I'm not going to read the Facebook one, but it's quite scary, and actually it's kind of blurring together, actually. But I'm sorry, Google. So, a little while ago, when Google Chrome launched, they launched with an end-user license agreement which said this. Basically, we own you and own everything that you do in our browser. And that's scary. That's very scary. They did say it was a mistake, it was a copy and paste mistake, and it has been reduced from that to this. So, but it's the kind of thing that you need to tell people and encourage people to look at this stuff and try and understand this stuff. It's really important. There was actually an open source loophole where, because Chrome is actually open source, you could recompile your own version and take out the end-user license agreement anyway. But it's still quite a scary prospect. Although Google does some really good stuff. So their map stuff's really cool. The collaboration, the open collaboration is really good. Also, you can save stuff as a KML file, which allows you to take it away and then do stuff manually on your desktop. It's also just XML, so you can go in there and just edit the XML, which is better than nothing. So you can import, export KML around and do more interesting things with it, not reliant on just Google Maps. Also, the Google Documents is really, really cool. It allows you to actually save as these formats and allows you to collaborate with people. So being able to save as all these formats is very, very good. So it means I can then take it away and play with it on my own laptop or give it to someone else who hasn't got internet access, for example. You have to be careful though. The permission-based stuff is very scary because, so actually this is the example where someone sent an email for someone to collaborate on a document or a spreadsheet and sent it to the wrong email address. And so it went to someone from the press, and so they were able to publish all the stuff that was in the spreadsheet. So yeah, this stuff was out there in the public, which shouldn't have been out there in the public. So it's got to be very, very careful with this stuff. How much time have I got? Not too bad. Okay, so permanency, it's a big issue. You expect stuff to be there when you go back to it, okay? You send someone a link, it's not there. What's happened to it? Big problem. Blip.tv has this agreement with archive.org that if you Creative Commons license your video, they will allow you to upload it to archive.org, which means that even if blip.tv disappear off the face of the earth, they'll redirect all their links to archive.org. Now that's something that like YouTube or Vivo or Video or whatever don't do, and that's something really important. So yeah, you can actually get these links, well, you can actually get the original file as well, which is really important. Not just the FLV file, so you can actually go and re-edit that stuff later. You should be able to delete all traces of yourself. Okay, this sounds obvious once you think about it. Well, okay, I've done with this service, I want to delete it. I want to delete my account, I want to delete all the stuff I've done. Well, that doesn't work that way, unfortunately. This is actually from Basecamp, so this is really good. This is from Delicious. Facebook, for the longest time, would not let you delete yourself from their service. But they had reasons why. They reckon that, obviously, because you're so integrated with the rest of the social network, deleting yourself would cause all the links to go haywire and whatnot. Well, believe that or not believe that, it's up to you. But they got overruled in the UK. A lot of text, but basically says, in America, it kind of was legal. In the UK and Europe, it was illegal. And so you've now changed that. However, there are people like yourselves who believe that this, allowing yourself to removed from profiles is enough. And you need to rethink that. There's a lot more going on Facebook than you think. And what happens once you remove yourself, maybe your kind of mirror of your profile still being used for advertising, for your friends advertising, that kind of thing. It's a whole lot of stuff going on with Facebook, which is really, really quite scary. Not saying not use it, but just be aware that this stuff goes on. So this is the end of my presentation. Hopefully I've kind of met the time. These are some links I highly recommend you look at least. The last few are about actually practical ways to do data portability, and the first lot are about kind of what's gone wrong, where we're going, and that's pretty much me done. So no more questions.